At the halfway point we reach I Can Do It Without You. A groovy, easygoing rock song that also deals a bit with nostalgia and independence. The first verse especially goes into how the band's home city of Leeds has changed so much over the years. None of the buildings look the same, and underneath them, the shops have all changed. Then the chorus basically consists of the repeating line of I can do it and I can do it without you, declaring how Ricky Wilson can carry on and make it through the hardships of fame, celebrity, and just life in general overall, even after so many breakups and possibly losses of friends and family as well. In the second verse, Ricky pictures himself in a northern train where everyone seems to be chatting amongst themselves, but he himself can't think of anything remotely clever to say, especially when he knows that no one would listen to him anyway. Seems Ricky Wilson's attempt at doing stand-up acts inside trains hasn't really taken off as well as he may have wished. The chorus itself comes round again, but this time we get the added line of, but it wouldn't be very good, hinting, if not expressing, a sense of doubt in what was otherwise a statement of confidence, showing how used we can be to depending and relying on other people just to get around in life, to kind of find our ways in our futures. We then get a very good guitar solo from Andrew White, which gets complemented by Ricky's Lars. And in the middle eight, Ricky does a sort of call and response to himself, asking himself what he wants and what he's doing here, and just replying that it doesn't matter. Once again, expressing doubt how it can be done without you, us listeners perhaps. This could be the heart of the internal conflict within this song, and the frustrations that our character are going through. And in the third and last verse, he eventually convinced himself that nothing has really truly changed, one bit, even if everyone else are acting differently from before. I think many people can find this song surprisingly relatable, how we remember a particular place or town in our childhoods, and after having never seen it again in a while and growing up, we'd likely return to those places and quickly realize that something doesn't seem exactly right. And this song alone captures that perfectly well. Next is My Kind of Guy, another 90s inspired track with a bit of dark, macabre humour to it. Beneath Andrew's dwindly guitar riffs are Nick Bade's more noticeable and haunting synth, as well as Nick Hodgson's punchy drums. The first set of lyrics go a bit into detail of a bike breaking down bolt by bolt, resulting in the person riding it flipping over and breaking nearly every bone in his body, ribs, hips and all, even his face. Honestly and truly worthy of the classic SpongeBob "My leg" gag, if it weren't for fears of potential copyright stuff. As the lyrics go on though, we start to get a bit more of the context here, as Ricky starts to refer to us, you, in second person, out of control and desiring to fill a hole left by the thrill of the chase. We're his kind of guy. He likes our style, reminding him of himself. He's essentially referring to us as daredevils, thrill seekers, people who'd willingly risk themselves just for that rush of adrenaline. And partway through the song, we get another brash solo from Andrew before Ricky returns, advising that as things get faster and more intense in a particular bicycle race, the nicest people always finish. Or at least, he claims so. And as soon as he finishes the last chorus and goes on how heads will roll and take their toll and whatnot, the last minute of the music just spirals out of control, perfectly capturing the anarchic nature of the content. It's like if Bicycle Race by Queen had a sadomasochistic nephew. After that is Everything's Average Nowadays, the title of which kinda sums up most recent movies, if not most of recent media, quite well, I think. The song itself is very much a modernized emulation of Buzzcocks, even down to having a very similar name to their song, Everybody's Happy Nowadays. Not exactly a rip-off, since the rhythms in both songs are still very different, among other things, but still just something worth pointing out. And it probably was just a coincidence. And ironically enough, this song itself is about anyone and everyone trying to follow along a particular craze that may happen to be popular at the moment, just so that it can be popular too. And as a result of all that, everything ends up becoming average. And when everyone and everything becomes special eventually, no one and nothing becomes special. After all, the Kaiser Chiefs themselves started off as trying to be like other indie rock bands of the time, under the belief that they would get a slice of the cake too. However, it was when they actually started to do and make unique and different stuff of their own, did they actually stand out and get success in more ways than one. And this kind of thing isn't just limited to music, it can refer to societies as a whole in general, how we often aspire to be special, to be like other great role models, but we just end up being meh. The music itself has a few little details I like as well, like the little keyboard melody that plays beneath Ricky singing Not Much to Believe In, especially if you have a keen sense of hearing or if you're listening through headphones or earphones. So, just like with the Angry Mob, this song still seems relevant in this day and age. Then there's Boxing Champ, a very unique song in many ways. Being the shortest from the album at a minute and a half, this is a piano ballad sung by the drummer Nick Hodgson in a somewhat Beatlesque vocal delivery. In this short tune, he sings about a weakling and a boxing champ meeting at a youth club where they looked out of place. Turns out it wasn't the YMCA convention that they were looking for. Anyways, a little mock boxing match commences, and the champ pretty much wins in taking down the weakling. But instead of feeling upset or downtrodden by the whole thing, the said weakling openly thanks the champ for what he did. And since then, over the years, the two stayed out of trouble, and soon enough, the weakling became a tragic bore while the champ is no longer a champ, implying that he got defeated in a later match by some other boxer or wrestler. While Nick the weakling says how he's learned that sometimes it's best to run away and at least enjoy what he does today, still thanking that champ. The lyrics remind me very much of the Rocky or Creed movies, someone with little experience challenging a champion, and things kind of go from there. The music also captures that loneliness. No guitars, no drums, no synthesizers, just Nick's voice and a piano. Very much like Leonard Cohen's Alleluia. Something like this is kind of what I mean by being and doing unique and different every now and then. Some people may see it as a little quick filler, but I honestly really enjoy this one just for how it sticks out from most of the album. Afterwards is Learned My Lesson Well, where we immediately start off with Hodgson returning to the drum kit once more. With this and the previous track in mind, it's a little bit of a shame he left the band so soon. Then Andrew's guitar crashes in and plays our sweet epic chords before Ricky takes on singing again, this time about waiting for someone to come along and pick up his stuff for him. But then he says he's learned his lesson and is waiting for this other person to go away. Bit rude. Someone shows up and is polite enough to help you carry your bags for you, but then you decide you just want them to trot off? Ungrateful jerkwad. In the chorus, he asks what you're waiting for, tells you to get off your seat, and laments how 7 days feel like a week. Mostly because 7 days are a week. Unless he's been listening to that Beatles 8 Days a Week song for so long that he'd actually started believing that a week actually lasts for 8 days. He then goes on to say how life could be worse, you could be cursed, believing a hearse, and most terrifying of all, you could end up being a nurse. Ultimately, the song's kind of about trying to do one thing or stay in one place, but then deciding it's not really all worth it and just trying to get out of it. And accepting that there can be worse things in life that could happen, like having to apply to being a doctor or a nurse. Next is the penultimate track, Try Your Best. Once again, very different from the familiar indie power pop rock styles we've mostly become accustomed to for a good chunk of the album. This one is mostly synth heavy, starting off with some deep bassy notes, then various long haunting keyboard chords progressing along. Then Ricky's voice comes in, accompanied by a strumming acoustic guitar, singing about seeing icy sea for miles and miles. He says he doesn't feel fear anymore, but at the same time, he admits he can't risk getting it anymore. He encourages us to try our best in life, to take advantage of it, and do whatever we can to achieve our hopes and dreams, and be successful at it, and just enjoy what you can do. Otherwise, life will inevitably pass you by ever so quickly, and you never truly know what would have been. Sure, the message is very obvious, but it's still very aspiring and inspiring regardless. And I think it can help in lifting a spirit or two, especially with its music and its own guitar solo, sounding both somber, bittersweet, and triumphant. It is another shame that this song doesn't get as much attention as some of the others might, and it should. It's a very good way to help fuel up self-esteem a bit, or at least it has for me when I first listened to it myself. And so our album ends with the fittingly titled Retirement. And boy, if Ruby was the best way to begin this album, this song seems good enough to finish it. Although I think another song like Boxing Champ or Try Your Best could have worked out just as well, but hey, just a personal idea. Anyways, Ricky sings on about how he wishes he could have been the inventor of many things, like the wheel, the washing machine, and the tumble dryer, just so he could be proud of something. But hey, there's still a chance you could still invent something new, like say, a time machine, or a new energy resource, or a drum-guitar hybrid. A drum-tar, if you will. Most of it is basically just him expressing a desire to just retire, and just while going a bit into detail of what else is going on and whatnot. All the while the 80s style new wave rocky music plays on. Again, the theme behind the song is quite obvious, but it's still something I don't think too many rock songs get into often. How retirement is often seen as this idealized event, and how some of us would often dream and wait for it, going out in style. It could also refer to leaving a band or quitting the music industry altogether, which of course none of the band members seem to have really done so. And yet something tells me Ricky would have had at least a few days left until retirement. And so, that was Yours Truly Angry Mob by the Kaiser Chiefs, and this album still rocks. Well, I don't know what else could be said about this. Many of the songs here are just instant 2000 classics. Songs like Ruby and Angry Mob pretty much sum up that classic mid-2000s rock and roll indie vibe, while other songs like Boxing Champ, Try Your Best, and Love's Not a Competition are very unique, interesting ones that aren't exactly of the normal indie rock norm, or at least what we think of when we listen to rock music or think of rock music, but still very, very familiar enough that you could still find a connection. They're very unique, so they can stick out. So, in a way, it is a very well balanced and well done album, and it is a worthy successor to the first album. And I think it was definitely the one where the Kaiser Chiefs really found their footing. This was the one that really made them big. This was their Dark Side of the Moon or Hard Day's Night. And I'd say I'd recommend it, but chances are good you've probably listened to one or two of their songs before. If you like the songs Ruby or Angry Mob or Love Song Competition, I say give the full album a chance to listen. Even if you're not exactly angry, it will make you anything but angry. Next time, we get a little cold as ice as we dig into the debut album by Foreigner. If I die, I want to be buried with a Bionicle magazine, some Pokemon trading cards, and a Blu-ray copy of Transformers. Michael Bay, you'll never not be popular. Hey, I'm the Naughties boy, and I gotcha!